why are you still single? Bruh, why are you still single? We could both ask each other this question all day. That's the first step. Don't let anybody tell you wrong. You need to know what you want and stand with it. The person for you will meet you where you are. That's a plus. Women know what you want. Don't let anybody tell you different. Don't let people tell you to choose your two pick. Everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is LolaAjisafe here. We are discussing Ready to Love. This is season 6, like we know. I think they say season 5, but it's episode 3, and it's called Sparks Will Sizzle, or maybe they'll just kind of be a dub and they'll fizzle. And before we kind of go into the recap, first thing first, housekeeping rules. Don't forget to like the video, y'all. Appreciate y'all liking. Keep liking the videos. Next, and I want to say now, I definitely want to say more importantly, drop a line, a comment, a word, a phrase, a monologue. We're going to discuss it. I read everything, get back, and then other people jump in and have something to add to the conversation. And last of all, if you haven't subscribed and you're still checking up with me, don't forget to subscribe. Change it to subscribed. All right, guys, so going into what's the first thing? Now they have this new name for ladies lounge, what they call it, like the ladies wine bar, like they're trying to be sophisticated. But I'm not going to judge them. It's good to start something fresh and new. So the two things he has for them today is one, setting up dates that will see if the guys can fit into their life. I think this is key because a lot of the time, particularly with women of a certain age, there's this need to almost, I don't want to say all, but sometimes the need to conform or to give in and do things because you want to attract someone. But I like this premise here. It's important to see not just how do you fit into his life. If you're good enough for him, is he good enough for you? Does he fit into your lifestyle? Is he really who he says he is? Can he keep up? Let's test the guys. And I don't mean like, some kind of, high school testing. Really test their character, their integrity. Who are they? Do their words line up with their actions? Are they who they really say they are? And when there's a discrepancy, let's not sweep the red flag under the carpet just because maybe he's got abs. I don't know, for whatever reason it may be. I didn't say discard them when you say a red flag, but pay attention. Pay attention, because it's one thing to see it going in and ignore it, and then you're in and then you start talking about it. So, and then the second thing he's talking about here is that he's going to be introducing a set of singles, a guy and a girl will be introduced, and there'll be another set of blind dates. All right, so going into the first blind date, we have Dakia meeting up with a gentleman called Eric. Eric is your private chef, 44, and once again, dare I say, it looks like the RTL crew they're using someone to match these people up. So it's the blind dates are being appear to me to be very strategic. And here is why. So we find out that, Mr. Eric, he was married at a young age, apparently at 18. He has 2 kids. I shouldn't call them kids because they're grown women. One's 21, one's 23. And then even like in their background, Eric now is a private chef, but in the past, he was a system analyst engineer, which is similar to Dakia, who says she is an engineer right now and works for NASA. When I heard NASA, I was like, you go girl, you know what? Love it. But I think another thing that kind of dawned on me that I thought would be, I don't know if they thought it or just happened to be a coincidence, but is anything really a coincidence, was when Eric was talking about a relative who had, was in remission for cancer. And then Dakia mentions that 9 years ago, she was diagnosed with cervical cancer. It was definitely found in the early stages, she said. But I think this gives us some insight into who Dakia is as a person. Because, I said she's a little sassy, she's fun, she's this, she's that, she's talking about BDE, da. But I think, a lot of the times when people go through a cancer, I won't call it cancer scare, go through that period, you'll find a lot of people who, when they appear to be looking at their mortality head on, a lot of people gain clarity. Clarity that those of us living in our superficial world, worrying about this and worrying about that, haven't quite gotten. And so it seems that for her, maybe part of her journey after going through and being in remission for 9 years is that YOLO, you only live once, I'm going to live it to the fullest. So her little playful banter is just her being her, and maybe she doesn't mean anything by it, I don't know, because she does appear initially to lead with sexual energy. But I feel sometimes, which makes sense, it takes a while to get to know someone. So the first impression, if you're just seeing one view, you don't get the full sense of it. So we're beginning to see more. So this might explain why she's got this lightheartedness about her. It explains it. And even her response to, I don't have kids. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like this just clear way of not dwelling on things that at the end of the day don't essentially change things about living. It appears, we're going to continue to see, it appears that she really appears to value life and is not caught up on or hung up on things. Let's see, I don't know, but they seem to have like a real cute, nice conversation. Eric's feeling her. And another thing about Eric that is noteworthy, and let's see if it plays a part, although it hasn't played a part, is here when he talks about his parents as role models. One, he's a PK. For those of you who don't know, I think everybody knows PK means preacher's kid, and there is like a stereotype that goes with a PK. Maybe some PKs stay online, other PKs wild out for a minute, then find their way back to Jesus. So we don't know what we're going to see with Eric, but more to go back to his parents. Parents have been married for eons of years, and he acknowledges that they were they are a great role model, that it still seem, he didn't say how many years, but it still seemed to have like a nice, they're still dating each other. They still show affection for each other. And that's what he wishes for himself. Sometimes unconsciously, when children are exposed to things like that, it really does set the mold. And I mean, in a good way. They know what a good, healthy relationship looks like. Now, I can't assume, I don't know what the parents' relationship is. But if I'm just to generalize, when a child does see a healthy relationship, it gives them a standard to look at, to look for. And that might be something good for him. Just because he has one failed relationship behind him doesn't mean that he can't have a future relationship that could blossom into something great. So here's to something good. Let's see how this goes. Our next blind date, the couple. Clifton, my boy, fast becoming one of my faves, of course. And then the lady he's meeting up with today, somebody she called herself AP. I'm going to have to get back to you with real names. I know I heard it. Anyway, AP's 42. She brands herself as a life coach. And a lot of the time you might find with people who come out as life coaches, I think is a lot of, we've all been through something, but maybe they've been through a little bit more. And so the journey they go through to get back to normal, or whatever normal may be, kind of leads them into the direction of, oh, let me show other people what I had to do or how I had to get through it. I don't know. And so looking at her story, she was married, has 2 children. I believe she said one is 9 years old, one is 7. Looks like a girl and a boy. I'm not sure which is which. Was married for 10 years, I believe, and she's now a widow. Husband passed away. We don't know how. We do know that she did mention that it took about 3 years to get to herself to now make herself available to date. And I want to say that's important. I don't want to put like a timeline that, it has to be a year, it has to be 2 years, it has to be 3 years. But there needs to be some time in between the breakdown of a relationship and you now saying, oh, you know what, I'm ready. Because you have to reconcile things. So you're not taking baggage into the next relationship. When I say reconcile things, what went wrong? How did it go wrong? How would you play it differently? You're healed enough to be vulnerable, to be available. And I don't mean vulnerable to everyone or anyone, but once you've surveyed the person, felt them out, you're open so they can actually see who you are, not meet your representative either for something good or for something bad. And then Clifton, on the other hand, this is another reason why I'm saying that they're paying attention. Clifton, I don't know if I found out this episode, I don't know if I didn't hear it the other episode, that he was married twice. Now, is that a concern? It's a concern, but he's not cancelled. He's not cancelled twice. I'd love to hear the story. And this is what happens when you meet someone who has things that you're like, don't cancel them, but pay attention. Tease it out. You were married twice. What happened? What happened with relationships? What have you come away with knowing? Because they say with each marriage, the percentage success rate gets lower and lower and lower. Not to say that a third marriage, you can't be successful and be happy for the rest of your life, but the percentage of people who marry 3rd, 4th, 5th times, the percentage of them staying together successfully decreases. But you, with intention, can make sure you're not one of those failure rates. That's what I would say. So I wouldn't cancel him. Still one of my faves, but you've been married twice, so what have you gotten from this? What is this? What? Just tease it out. That's all you say. And then he has 2 kids. One's 17 and one's 3. I said like 3, was that the second marriage? And these are the questions. 3-year-old, that was just 3 years ago. A lot can happen in 3 years or not. Like, how far away are you from that mother who has a 3-year-old for you? Like, how long ago did you guys, that's what you want. And I do believe he said something about 2 or 3 years, but still, 3-year-old is young. So he definitely has a commitment both to that child and honestly to the mother, because if you want to co-parent properly, it's hand in hand. Like, even if you hate her, like, you're gonna be co-parenting for another good 15 years, and if you want to do it effectively, you're gonna be there. I don't want to say her back and call, but you're her back and call, like, real talk. And so as a woman going into that, is that something you can handle? Are you ready for that? So these are the things they're looking at. So I would say, how were they paired properly? Both parties have 2 children. Clifton's 44, AP's 42. So at that point, do they really want to have more children? Likely not. I'm pre-guessing they will say, but I would say if they've both got 2, do they really want to have other children? So be more focused on how do we blend our lives together, and how can I be an effective, I hate the word step parent. So I like when people use the word bonus. How can I be an effective bonus parent? How can I be an addition to this team where the children, I'm not replacing the biological parents. I'm just merely an addition to make that comfort level, to provide more love. So that would be a conversation to have. So that seems like a nice pairing. Because not to say that, to judge him and say he can't have another kid, but for a younger lady coming into with him, would she want to automatically have 2 bonus children already? It just seems like, to me, it just seems easier, clearer, and cleaner if you're already with someone who has kids. But love doesn't know, doesn't pick a person or how you got 2 kids or Hitch, But just to say, just on paper, if someone's looking, teasing through it, they look compatible. He looks compatible with someone who's had children. Not to say if he meets the love of his life and she doesn't have children, he's not ready to have children with her. He is. But right now, this seems like a compatible pairing. But I'm giving my disclaimer because at the back of my mind, I'm still feeling his connection with Joy, and Joy doesn't have any kids. So anyway, let's keep this train. AP goes on to say, she's a vegan, she's this, she's that. And first of all, she seems enthralled with him. Like, she's like, he's this, his teeth, he's this, is that. No, all of a sudden, it was like a curveball for me. She talked about he looked like her brother. Yeah, so she literally poured cold water on me. Like, I was like, okay, this little bit cute, it's going. And she said, you look like my brother. I'm like, oh, jeez, lady, like, what you trying to do? I don't know if that was her changing her mind, and you have a right to change your mind. Initially, maybe facially, she might have thought he was interesting because she says to that effect. And all of a sudden, she goes on to say, he reminds her of her brother. What happened for you? Because when you say someone reminds you of your brother, you're trying to friend zone them. Like, why would you want to be romantic with someone who reminds you of your brother? Like, you put him somewhere, and he felt the shift. And I think at his conclusion of that date is that they could be friends, but it wasn't likely going to be a romantic connection. And I think it started, I don't know, we weren't there to get the feels, like, were they attracted to each other? Did they have a good flow of a conversation? Because we only got clips. So I don't know if they both kind of felt like, this is not going anywhere. Hey bro, what's up? I don't know. But just to me, it seemed that one hand in the beginning, she had like, Then all of a sudden, it's like, you remind me of my brother. Like, what happened in between here? And I guess that's what happens on real dates. You meet the person might be initially interesting and easy on the eyes, like your artwork in a museum. And then you get closer to the painting and it just looks frayed, and the colors look faded, and you're just not feeling the painting anymore. So she has every right to change her mind. I'm just noticing that for us, we just saw all this we saw the transition happen within 2 minutes. So it seemed a little quick for us, but in real life, we know how it goes. And so it's good to be clear. So she cleared that he her brother. So now they're siblings. All right, so we go into a group date. It's what you call like paint or pass and paint and let's call it pass and paint, because it's not coming to me. So we have, who are the guys here? We have the new guy, Eric. We have Cornelius. And then we have the ladies, Dakia. We have Joy. And I believe we have Ace. So you're meant to sit, pass, paint a little bit. Somebody completes the painting for you. So I'm not crazy about, this, well, I guess this date helped the, the third wheel concept, because, at one point people will couple up and one person's going to be left sitting alone. But with the way it is, maybe like the switching, like, pass and paint, everyone will get to speak with everyone. So that helps a little bit with this, third wheel concept, but I still don't like it. So first and foremost, I believe Cornelius and Joy were sitting next to each other. And Cornelius, we've already discussed last week. I'm not going to judge him based on my experience with prior, gentlemen who've been called Cornelius. But he's talking about, he painted his dead cat called Pimp. Now, I'm not judging him. Nothing wrong with cats. I don't hate cats. But he's trying to justify his love for cats. That Egyptians Worship cats. What's my business with Egyptians? Like why you bring me into, why you bring Egyptians into it, and why do you think I care? But I digress. We're gonna keep this train moving. And so, you know, Joy's a lady, like she looking at him like so the title, you know, in the title of this episode, Fizzle, I wouldn't say this was a dud because it fizzled, but she was very polite. She didn't let him know that she didn't do a Tiffany. Like, she wasn't rude. She let him talk. She let him, you know, just say whatever he was saying, even though she wasn't feeling what he was saying. So going on to the next, you know, couple that was sitting next to each other, Ace and Eric. They had a nice flow, rapport. They got going. Eric did, still did confirm that Dakia, he still had his eye on Dakia. She was still on his, you know, his leaderboard, but still was enjoying his conversation with Ace. Is that a possible connection? Let's wait and see. It's still early days yet. They switch again, and so Joy is now talking with Eric. And Eric did confess that he was curious about Joy. So Joy, you know, she's coming up to be, you know, we've had a Joy in prior seasons who was also a hot cake. You know, some names mean everything. Let me just put aside, like, name means something. You live up to your name. You give somebody a foolish name, they sometimes can live up to that foolishness or not if they do some work. But at least for my culture, your names, they put effort into your names. For us, your grandparents, when the mother is pregnant, grandparents will sit down, pray, decide, talk to the gods, talk to who? Talk to Shango. No, I'm not kidding. We don't talk to Shango about names, but talk and come up with a name and present the child with a name. So the child will have names from the parents, from the grandparents on both sides. So it's like you probably see Nigerians, you see our name, we have a couple in there. We don't fit all of them in there, but we've got a couple names because the names mean something. They dwell on the names and give it. But anyway, I digress. So Joy appears to be a favorite. Eric's having a nice little flow with her, talking about he the palate pleaser. All right, palate pleaser. I hope your cooking has some seasoning in it. I don't know. But palate pleaser, that's like, you know. Anyway, if you don't believe in your cooking, who will believe in your cooking? So you go ahead, keep calling yourself the palate pleaser. And so next conversation of note is Dakia sits down with Cornelius. I don't know if they haven't sat down prior to him coming, and they start talking. I don't want to call it pet peeve, but something that just always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It's like when you're sitting, or maybe the guy meant it as compliment. I don't know, but it's just like Cornelius is asking Dakia that, you know, why are you still single, bruh? Why are you still single? We could both ask each other this question all day. It's a dating show, so let's go. But anyway, just and maybe, you know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I've probably done it myself. I probably looked at other, but nah, the why are you single is like, why are you asking me? But and then it also depends on how it's said. The way I perceived he said it, I didn't receive it in a positive light. But he may have just been positive, and I just was, you know, not listening to his tone. But another thing that I realized coming out of this interaction, and this is the second, this is a big flag. This is like, the red flag last week was small, this is a big red flag. He's got 2 red flags. Third red flag is out. Anyway, he says that he got a vibe that Dakia was for commitment. And the thing is, with Dakia, has always had this light, fun energy. But why would you, like, what kind of stupid, you know, observation is this? Why would she not want to be about commitment? So he says that he gets a vibe that, you know, Dakia is for commitment, and he's hesitant. This is the same kind of nonsense he played with Tiffany last week. Talk about she's very clear that why shouldn't she be clear? Why shouldn't a woman be clear on what she wants? The problem here is not that because they're clear. The problem here is that Cornelius is not clear. Did he come on this game show to play? Because every time a woman, you know, sits in her truth, like, this is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to play. I'm not 22 anymore. I'm not here to play. So why is he takes offense to a woman who is clear on what she wants? That's the first step. Don't let anybody tell you wrong. You need to know what you want and stand with it. The person for you will meet you where you are. This guy is not for anyone already. This is like beginning of the episode, and he had an issue with a woman who knows what she wants. That's a plus. Women know what you want. Don't let anybody tell you different. Don't let people tell you you're too choosy, you're too picky. You need to realize that, I mean, some of us are a little choosy and are a little picky. We can't just be called like, oh, I want a man with, you know, 6-pack. Like, sis, do you have 6-pack yourself? But let me go off the soapbox. But at the same time, even if it seems superficial, it's not really your position to tell her that. If it doesn't work for you, keep it moving. Don't try and tell her that what she wants isn't worth it, or she's not this, or she's not. Just sit somewhere. But anyway, so I took offense to him having an issue because this is second time. So this guy is here to play, or at least based on the editing shown on own network, it didn't put him in a favorable light because this is the second time he's judged a woman for this reason. But I'm gonna keep this train moving. So our next date, we have Paul P.O. I deliver, having a sit down with Sabrina. Now, first of all, the confessional. Sabrina looked very beautiful with her hair in a bun. Like, she looked like she looked different. Like with her head down, okay. All right, okay. But with her hair in a bun, she looked right. She looked good. She looked good. So anyway, I digress. But back to, so she and Paul sit down. And, she's, everybody's talking about he's got his guard up. She's trying to break through his guard, have a conversation. I felt he was opening up. He talked about him, being like, back in the day, Instacart, before he was 10. I mean, you want a man to have vision. I don't know if he still has vision, but if he started at 10 at that rate, it's likely that he has vision now. You want to see that in a man. You want him to have vision. You want him to be able to, propel you and push. But apparently that's not for Sabrina. She says she wants someone to be, about today and not about tomorrow or the future. Now, maybe I feel like Paul on this date didn't get a fair shake, or maybe I wasn't there for however long they were there. Maybe she was bored out of her mind, but I feel like she didn't get a fair shake because maybe she's just not attracted to him. It's as simple as that. Because I felt like him opening up and talking about his childhood was not a bad thing. Now, maybe she was looking for more, but it's a first date, yo. And I know it's still the speed dating concept, but I felt I learned more from him. And he seemed like earnest, like, because I think that's when he asked the question, is like, do you see me in that position? And she's like, nah, my G, like, you one of the homies. Like, she got him. And I think, and this is not me judging Sabrina on this, because like I said, I wasn't there at the date, so I don't know what transpired through the whole date, but I do feel that sometimes this happens with us as women, that sometimes based on what we think we want, or what we think what we want looks like, we sometimes, friend zone some guys who maybe we should just like hold off, like, let me give it a second thought. Like, maybe we need to go back to our friend zone notebook and revisit some of them, and they could actually be people who could be perfectly paired up with us. But sometimes, like, you put a tray of candy, like, I like gummy bears, and then I like, I do like just like the dairies, chocolate, just different chocolates on the tray. Like, I would have to pick one, and sometimes you ignore some of your other favorites that work for you for the one that's on top. So maybe that's it. She's distracted by some of the other guys. So Paul, she doesn't really have the bandwidth or the time to pay attention to him or dig a little deeper. I hope this doesn't come back to bite her in the butt, but this is life. We have to make quick decisions, and she's decided that Paul is not it. So I'm not judging, but I just want us to use this as an example that and I'm not saying don't, if you're not feeling it, still, pursue it. But I feel like, pause, give that person, give them time. See, don't quickly friend zone them. I mean, if you're not attracted to them, you're not attracted to them. If she wasn't attracted to him, she wasn't attracted to him. But, Paul seemed earnest, like, So I'm seeing a little, because I've said, last week that I'm curious to see who this man is. That he could really be an amazing guy, but he seems somewhat, he's got these corny jokes and a little bit robotic sometimes, so they feel like his guard is up. There's a story there. I would love to hear the story. Hopefully he won't get, kicked off before we get to meet Paul 3D. He could be a really interesting guy. We have another group date. Bowling alley. I recently bowled for the first time. Yeah, don't judge me. I know it's an American thing, but I just hadn't gotten to it yet. Surprisingly, I did okay. But anyway, so then bowling alley, it is Joy, the new lady AP, and then I think they had more guys. Paul, Demetrius, and Laverne. So I like this too. They flipped it. They got more guys than ladies this time. So anyway, I see the first scene, I catch my eye. Joy, she was massaging Demetrius' shoulders. I'm like, okay. If I throw emojis up here, I'm not like a computer whiz, but I throw emojis like, yo, like, looking at a connection, like Joy connecting with all these fellas. And then she goes on to, have, what's his name, Laverne. She and Laverne, apparently they had like she had camo pants, he had a camo shirt, and he's, you know, they're playful. I have this playful back and forth, flirting, teasing. I'm like, see another connection. Joy not playing. She understands the show. So yeah, they have a nice little back and forth. She has no problem with. He's like, you know, touch my butt. She's like, my G, like that's not what I do. Like that's not for everyone. Like that's stage 7, not stage 2. So come back. Let's see if you last to stage 7. And he's laughing. He's, you know, they're joking around. And then she even has, you know, she's kind with Paul. Joy about to go to the final because she understands it, and her temperament allows her to play along, even when someone is not really floating her boat or wetting her whistle. Even when that's not happening, she's polite and there's some kindness in her. So with Paul, you know, Paul is like trying to give her the coaching, like throw the ball to the air and She's like, I got you, but if I get it right, it's not because of your coaching. Like she's just, you know, she understands it. Go ahead, Joy. So it seemed like a fun date. Everybody was vibing. I liked it, you know. And what I did like, you know, to start with, you know, was when Joy, because Joy was meeting AP for the first time. She put the guys to the side. She gave AP a hug, like, hey sis, welcome. I like that. I want us, and I think I know, you know, it was something that just made my heart feel warm. Because I don't want us to be like beefing or disrespecting each other because for men. Like, I always remember that, yeah, we're in this together. We're sisters. Once again, I think I said this, you know, a couple episodes ago. I am my sister's keeper. You are your sister's keeper. Like, we might be going for the same guy, but I don't mean like we're competing with each other. We're not. Because what's mine, it's mine. And what's yours is yours. Like, it is what it is. So the illusion of competition shouldn't make us lose our minds. We still need to hold hands and keep it together. Anyway, I digress. Let's go to the next date. All right, next date. It looks like a tour of all the monuments in DC. So on this date, we have Demetrius. We have, who is the other guy? Tori. And then Wiley, Sabrina, and AP. So there are 3 guys and 2 girls once again. Looks like Demetrius sitting at the back, and both ladies are talking to the guys they're talking to, but they want to talk. They want to talk to Mr. Chocolate. But Demetrius keeping his cool. Like, he's like, I'm all that. Like, you ready to talk to me? Talk to me. But anyway, so Wiley's talking to AP. Now AP is 42, Wiley 32. She says she don't want to be looking like a cougar on TV. Or Puma, like whatever they call themselves now. Like, I don't want to do that on TV. Not interested. Sabrina, I mean, she's closer in age, but Sabrina's talking to, what's his name at this time? Tori. Yeah, Tori, but she like looking like she wanted Demetrius to join in. She did say at the top of the hour that the 3 guys, the guys there, you know, Wiley, Tori, and Demetrius were her top. So now we know what her tops are. Maybe she was just talking. But I know she definitely has an interest in Demetrius because she was just like, yo, she want him to jump in. And Demetrius just looking like, he's not giving her any game at all. He giving her nothing. He's like, you want to talk to me? Switch seats. Come sit with me and talk to me. I don't know. I'm just saying. But anyway, so clearly, I mean, Wiley easy on the face, but it appears that more of the women are older than him. And he also, his energy, it's not about his age, his energy too is quite young. He has a young energy. He leads with the young energy. So even though, because you meet someone who's younger than you, but the energy is like, matches yours. But I don't see his energy hasn't been matching some of these ladies. And most of the ladies are older than him. So let's see how this goes. You know, this may be working against him. Spirit fingers. This is the scene. We've been waiting for this scene. Joy and Clifton. They've been wanting to have a date like since, you know, episode 1. Finally, these messy producers get them together in the 3rd episode. We excited for this. So here goes. So they meet, I think, if I remember the banner, I think it's sent by Kenyan Dining. She gets some fish. He gets a bite of this fish. She feeds him the fish. He gets a bite of this fish, and Brad looked like something wrong. He's like, I think there's coconut in this. And I love that. I don't know, but we didn't see, you know, the progression. We just saw clips put together for us. But I was like, I love that when he said, I think there's coconut, and she's like, oh, like she knew that he was allergic to coconut. So all he had to say was like, ooh, there's coconut in this. So I don't know if he had to, maybe the clips were put together. So he explained, I'm allergic to coconut. And then that's when she said, but it gave us the illusion of she knew. So they knew each other. Maybe they'd been talking on the phone. So she knew his allergies already. I don't know. But anyway, he says, I think there's coconut in this. Like, She's like, oh my goodness, I've been dying for this though. Don't go now, Clifton, don't go. Favorite scene, love it. And I love, I love what Clifton says. He's like, look, unless my heart stop and my throat close up, I ain't going nowhere. We're going to finish this date. I love it. Like, their energy really works very well. So they can be really playful. They make great TV. They're going to the final. Like, I'm just saying, like, unless something crazy happens, unless some hating happens, those two should make it to the final. Because it was just nice. It was just like, I'm just like, yes, finally, they're here. And so they go into talking, and then Joy talks about herself. She talks that she was raised by a single dad. Not the norm, probably more in the minority, but interesting, and explains who she is as a person. Like the kind of relationship I want to stand out here on the ledge here and say the kind of relationship you have with your dad is the kind of relationship that will kind of dictate how you relate with males. Like, she and her dad were homies. So she gets on very well with, like, she can vibe with them quick. Like, hey, what's up? She can play, she can laugh. She's not so prissy and prim and proper with them, And I think that kind of gives us some insight into who she is. Definitely, she probably did miss something not living with her mother, but she and her dad were tight, and them also kind of bonding over the loss of their father. So when her father died, he was the main parent for her. She loved, she's breaking down, like, so it was. As you talk about things that are personal to you, and even there, I think she wiped away a tear. It brings you guys closer together. Clifton had also lost his father, I think in his 20s, and he also felt the loss. That brought them closer together. As you peel away the layers and open the curtains, it brings, the two souls meet in the middle. Like, that's the M&B talk, but yeah. But anyway, so this was a good start, and they have this little crack about, you and me, you. I'm not going to break it down because I want to stay monetized. So I'm not going to break that down. But I thought that was cute. I might throw that clip up for y'all so you can see what I'm talking about. We like this. This the couple to watch. But she playing it right. She's having great chemistry with other guys too. But Clifton, her number one. Clifton by number one. So let's see how it goes. So we go to the ladies' wine bar. To make the long story short, as we've already recapped the episode, I'm just going to recap this little tiny bit for you. The bottom two are Cornelius and Paul. My girl Precious, she fine for her man. She says she never had a connection like this before in her life. That's laying on strong, and so she fights for him. But you know what? I like that. She didn't just watch them railroad her main interest. She's like, no, let me tell you something, guys. Like, I'm a little flighty. I like someone who's solid, which is what I kind of said earlier on in the episode. That sounds like a solid quality, not making him stiff and uninteresting. And so she pled his case. She fought for him. I don't know if I've seen it like that. I mean, other than Which Shall Remain Nameless last season, which bordered on bullying. This was more like stating my case. Like, look, he's this. You're judging him wrong. I like that, I had respect for Precious at that point in time. So we already know who's going into Elimination Day. So, but right before we get to the Elimination Day, so something that just caught my eye. As they're going down the list about who my favorite is, Carmen talk about Clifton, her favorite. Like, y'all saw that episode. Unless Clifton been talking to her behind the scenes, and all of a sudden he got over those blue eyes. Like, Clifton not feeling like that, Carmen. But it is what it is. We'll see how this goes. Maybe they do have a connection. Because I thought your connection was with Laverne. Like, you ghosted him already. But like, this is a show. So we're gonna steam right with the show and see what happens. But yeah, I'm like, Clifton, your choice now. God, he wouldn't give me that much time. He left you to go talk to Ace, if I remember correctly. But look, this is just, we weren't there. I wasn't there. Maybe they had a couple nice night phone calls, and he's also trying to stay in the running. Like, he have to play his cards close to his chest and be smart with it. So he hasn't written off Carmen yet, but Carmen, I want you to get your hopes up. Clifton, you ain't his number one. Like, sis, bring it down. But anyway, going to elimination dates. Joy with Cornelius. And then it was Paul and Precious. So, Precious sits down with him, tells him what's going on. She explains to him that the ladies feel that he's guarded. And then, you know, she's like trying to give him more things to do so he'll be more appealing to the ladies, so she won't have to fight for him every week. And his initial reaction, he was defensive. Like, he trying to do gangster, like, what? Like, sir, like, that's not gonna work. You'll find yourself on the chopping block next week if you keep this up. And so I know, you know, Precious is looking like, that's not attractive. I don't know, I'm reading her mind. But him saying, like, if they can't take me the way I am, blah, blah, blah. Nah, they don't want to take you. They already said they don't want to take you the way you are. So you like half a leg already. But in his confessional, he did say that, you know, he recognized that, okay, he thought he was cool and da. But if everyone's saying the same thing, he has to do a self-examination. He has to reassess himself. Boom. That's the key right there. Reassess, self-examine. Because people saying the same thing. You're the common denominator. Like, what's going on? What do I need to look at? What are they seeing that I'm just not, like, paying attention to? So I like that. So let's see. How will he come off next week? Because if he keeps this energy up, like, we're not going to get to meet him. He's going to go home. Because he's already escaped some eliminations as it is already, because he hasn't been a favorite for most of them. But he's kind of skated through. So he's going to need to come with his A game next week so they don't get rid of him. I'm just saying, Paul, like, at this point, I'd like to see more of you, because I think there might be something interesting. But if you don't figure it out, you're gone. All right, so going to, you know, Joy and Cornelius. You know, Joy was stumped. Like, she wanted to think of a kind, gentle way to let him know that he going home. Anyway, she finally blurted it out, like, my bruh, my G, like, you going home. And he was graceful, like, oh, okay, you know. But I think, rightfully, it was good for him to go. I don't know if this format was for him, and I say that because he doesn't know what he wants. This is a dating show for older singles. And typically, older singles want, if it's not marriage, at least it's a committed relationship. We're not here to play. We've already been around the rose garden, like, back then, you know, in 20s, 30s, we still want to do the same thing, 40s, 50s. Now, my G. So if you're having a problem with ladies who want a commitment, you're in the wrong place. You need to go to Tinder. I don't know any of those. I don't know what the other sites are where you can where you hook up, whatever. So you all say, whatever those hookup sites are, that's where he needs to go, because he looked like he want to hook up. Because he have a problem with every woman who wants a commitment. So it literally like, ladies, this was a correct elimination, because he's not with it. We need to get rid of the unserious people and figure out who's serious. And that's life, really. Some people with the appearance of, they won't even confess. Like, why did he come into that setting knowing that he didn't know what he wanted? Or maybe he didn't know that he didn't know what he wanted. But him always having an aversion to a woman wanting a certain type of commitment is an issue. But he decided that he won't be on the show. Maybe he just won't be on the show and that's when you get the mix of people who are there for the wrong reasons. It really makes it harder to get real, genuine connections. Because if he wasn't there for commitment, what was he there for? I think it was a real estate investor. He trying to get publicity. I don't know, but I'm not judging because I don't know who he is. But just with the clips we saw, just left just a sour taste in my mouth. But guys, we've come to the end. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. See you in the next episode. It's heating up a little bit. We're getting to know who these peoples is. Yeah, I said is. I'm just kidding. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Take care. Lola, over and out. Bye.